All right, all right. Hello, all you sports fans out there in podcast land, and welcome once again to another edition of Babbling Brooks, your new favorite podcast, where I, your host Brooks, try to bring you some of today's sports news with just a little twist of my point of view. Hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday out there, a happy hump day, if you will. I'm doing pretty good, enjoying a lazy day off. The sun is shining. After I do this, I'll probably do a little walk over to the library to enjoy the high temperature of the day. After starting out in the 30s, it's up, I think, approaching 50 at least by now. Feels pretty nice coming in through the window. Still kind of dealing with this cold / allergies bullshit. So you hear a little nasaliness in my voice. That's what that is. And I'm going to try to make this quick, give y'all an NFL Week 15 preview. As I'm struggling not to sneeze. Actually, I started this once, and I had to stop. Let's redo that, because it was getting rough. I think I blew some of it out. I feel like I'm less congested than I was like 20 minutes ago. Still pretty congested. But I'm gonna push on through for y'all, give y'all my thoughts game by game as we approach a critical portion of the NFL season, the last 4 weeks. You got 6 AFC teams at 7-6. The playoffs could get interesting. Let's start out. Of course, now they fixed it. When I looked a few minutes ago, it said the Chargers and Raiders game was at 1:15 in the morning on Friday. I'm like, that doesn't make any damn sense. So now they fixed it. It's 8:15. That's what I thought. Tough one. You got Chargers, of course, the news. Bad news for the team. Justin Herbert just had season-ending surgery, so he is done. Passing the ball on now to Easton Stick. Played college ball at, I think it was North Dakota State. I know it was one of the Dakotas. Pretty sure it was North. It's like 49-3 in college. So he knows winning in college, but can he really translate that to the NFL? If he does, going to need some help. You got Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler feels like he'll need a big game. I feel like this game is in Vegas. I think the Raiders, they're going to have a bounce-back game. Both teams coming in 5-8. The Raiders coming off an actual 3-0 defeat. That's right, a full-length NFL game ended with a 3-0 score. Not from two incredible defensive teams, really. Vikings won that one, of course. So I think in this one, Devontae Adams finds a way, and the Raiders do just enough to get the win in this one. And Saturday, you got things getting a little different now that college football's regular season is over. Of course, the bowl games will be starting on Saturday. I know I'm going to do my best to watch as much of the Appalachian State game on Saturday as I can. But 3 NFL games on Saturday. Vikings and Bengals matchup of 2 7-6 teams. Of course, only one in the AFC is the Vikings are the NFC team coming off that big old 3-0 win last week. Bengals had some surprising play from Jake Browning after losing Joe Burrow for the season, which seemed to me and a lot of people are pretty much okay. Once Joe Burrow's done, this team is done. Not so fast. They've won 2 in a row. Part of that big logjam in the AFC at 7-6. And this being a home game, and the fact that the Vikings only could score 3 points in their previous win, I think the Bengals find a way, get this win, keeping those playoff hopes alive and kind of well. A lot of things can change these last 4 weeks. That's why this is really a critical week heading into this final stretch of the regular season. Another game, of course, the middle game of the day. Steelers going to Indianapolis, taking on the Colts. Of course, the Steelers lost last Thursday against the Patriots. A lot of people surprised by that. They had that one game after they fired Matt Canada. It seemed like the offense came to life, and I guess not. And yet Gardner Minshew piloting the ship there after the rookie phenom Anthony Richardson went down for the season. I believe Gardner Minshew going to come through in this game. The Colts get the win, go to 8-6. This should be an interesting one, too. The Broncos, man, they've had a hell of a season. It started out, 0-4, and seemed like it clicked. Looked like Sean Payton, Russell Wilson figured it out, because they're right. They're only one fucking game behind the Kansas City Chiefs, thanks to back-to-back losses from the Chiefs to go with all these Broncos wins. wins. And, of course, the Lions losing on the road last week. Justin Fields showing why Chicago should not give up on him. And this one, though, is at home for Detroit. And maybe I'm still biased because of 2015 watching Peyton Manning and the damn Broncos beat my Panthers and Cam Newton to the Super Bowl to ruin what could have been a magical season for Carolina Panther fandom. But that's a whole other episode. But, maybe I got a bias against the Broncos. I don't think so. But I still think the Lions, I like to see the Lions win, man. Detroit needs some W's. And it'd be a big win to go to 10-4 for Detroit, especially, they lose a couple games, then their division gets a little more up in the air if the Packers and Vikings and some guys can win. So it feels like the Lions need to get this win, especially a home game. Everybody questioning Jared Goff, whether he's truly the answer there for them. But I think the Lions are going to win the final game of Saturday night. How about Sunday's actions? My Panthers still trying to get win number 2 of the season. Got the first win. Looks like maybe we're turning a corner. Then we've lost 6 in a row since then. Obviously, way out of playoff contention. The rest of the NFC South, including the Falcons, obviously is tied at 6-7. Things not looking good for the Panthers. Last week was rough for Bryce Young. People saying the Panthers should bench him the rest of the season, which to me doesn't make any damn sense. I mean, now, obviously, hindsight being 2020, he probably should have done something more along the lines of Patrick Mahomes. And maybe not went out there right away. It feels like, though, that David Tepper probably was putting some pressure on behind the scenes, maybe making it to where it wasn't an option. Or maybe they never even thought, I'm sure they thought about it, but it doesn't seem like it was ever very seriously considered. Bryce Young sitting, even though it wasn't for the whole season, feels like he should have sat for a little while. We got Andy Dalton for a reason. He's not just a good teacher, he's still a damn quality player. He looked pretty good the one game he played for us. But to me, at this point in the season, especially after as rough as the last couple of weeks have been for Bryce Young, what's the point in benching him? Yeah, you can risk him getting injured, but damn, it's football. That's gonna, that is like you can't avoid injury risk in football. So and I feel like it'd be one thing if he was doing okay and the team just kept losing, but he's looked pretty rough. So if you bench him at this point, that's going to be what holds over with him going into the offseason, how bad he was. Instead, you give him a chance. I mean, yeah, if he sucks, then he's just where he is right now. But maybe he's able to, show some promise because there's been a lot of games, even in rough performances. And look, a couple of weeks ago, it looked like maybe we come back to life, when he had that great getting that 2-point conversion, but then immediately throwing an interception. And I think a lot of he's just been kind of failed. Like Scott Fitterer, I don't know how he hasn't been fired. Or if he's just tight with David Tepper, or he walked in on Tepper doing something once. Because I feel like he should have been fired before Frank Reich. Because Frank Reich, and I still think that was probably the right move because the offense just wasn't doing anything. But part of the reason for that is the general manager, Scott Fitterer, didn't bring nobody in. Didn't really bring in guys to help out. Didn't stack the offensive line up like he should. Should have spent some money there. Should have brought in a game-changing receiver. I guess they were hoping DJ Chark could be that, but he's not quite been that guy. And, sometimes it's Bryce's fault, sometimes it's the receiver's fault, but definitely feels like we should have had a better job done. A better job should have been done at building this roster. So I think Fitterer needs to be gone. I don't know who to put in there in his place exactly. Somebody from a good team, obviously. Somebody from a successful organization. Because this organization's a mess right now. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes references calling it some Hunger Games shit. Apparently Frank Reich was getting undercut by people on the staff. I guess that's the problem, having such a large staff of people that have never worked together before. And apparently people were going behind his back to David Tepper, making suggestions. David Tepper's just like, yeah, sounds good. Then they would tell Frank to do some shit. So it seems like a chaotic workplace right now. But I keep saying I'm not going to do it anymore, but I'm picking the Panthers, y'all. This game is in Charlotte. Let's play spoiler. It just seems like the right time. I think they're going to wear some. I think they're wearing the black helmets. That'll have to bring some good vibes. And I'm not going to get to watch the game. I'll be at work at 1 o'clock. Still, we'll get off at 5 on Sundays. So I think the Falcons, they're not a team known to be good. They shoot themselves in the foot a lot last couple of years, it feels like, just like us. This whole division's terrible. Like I said, I don't really think any of these teams in the NFC South will win a playoff game, no matter who wins the division. Which of the three of them wins it? I think they'll get beat at home in round one. And I think the Falcons, coming to the Panthers home in this one, I think the Panthers find a way to win. And it's not like it'll eliminate the Falcons for the postseason. They still have a chance. It would only put them a game at most behind the Saints or the Bucks. But shit, they could all lose and be tied at 6-8 for first place. That's what I want to see. I want to see the rest of them lose. So I think the Panthers find a way, man. Derek Brown is having an awesome season. Like, he had an interception last week. Like, he's taken a big jump forward. I saw an article. It was a cat scratch reader that was like, the Panthers should trade Derek Brown to the 49ers. It was like, I don't really care what the return is. I'm like, well, what the fucking point is a trade? You're not worried about the return. That's only if you're getting rid of a problem. Derek Brown's not a problem. Brian Burns aren't problems. And I don't think we should trade either one of them. Because that would just set this rebuild back even farther. And also, like, are you going to really get enough? Unless it's like a near the top draft pick, then what are you doing? Unless we could somehow use it to get Marvin Harrison Jr., get him a receipt, get Bryce Young a receiver. But I think trading either one of those players would just do damage to the team morale. And the one thing we got going for us is defense right now. And if you get rid of, of course, Brian Burns hasn't had the statistical season he would like to have. I think a lot of that, too, though, is just the team. But even Derek Brown, his stats aren't as good as he'd be if this was a better team. And Brian Burns, ever since Hassan Reddick went to the Eagles a couple years back, I guess before last year, like this team, he's not had anybody the opposite side to draw attention away. So when that's the case, when you just have one, like, really good end like that, then you can game plan. You can overload that side. Put a little extra protection against him. But when you have a threat on the other side, so Panthers need to develop maybe a Maribardo. I still think he needs to get it. Especially this would be a great time this time of year. Put a Maribardo out there more. See what you got. You're already eliminated. Start building some shit. Fast kid, second year player out of Tech, Virginia Tech, man. He's a lot of fun to watch. On the opposite side, you got Rasheem Blackshear. Similar thing. Good news for the Panthers too is the running game actually kind of came to life. Miles Sanders, 70 yards to go with Chuba Hubbard around the same. So I think they'll build on that, and I think Bryce Young isn't going to have a game that bad back-to-back. I think he's going to take some good. Hopefully, got Jim Caldwell in there working with him. Someone who's been around, knows a lot about the NFL. So I think the Panthers find a way to finally get win number 2. We got to win more than one game this year. It'd be great to get to 3. That's how bad this season has been. And I would be, at this point, I would be like, oh, cool. We got 3 wins on the year. Because that would mean we won 2 of our last 4 games. So at least one stretch we were 500. But that's going to be tough, the way this team has looked. But hey, man, I think the Falcons are the team, it's a team we can beat. They didn't beat us that bad week 1 in Atlanta. It was a game we were in really a lot of time. And this was at home, man. And I know the hometown crowd isn't giving it much of a shit anymore, I'm sure. It's been a rough ride. But you got to shout and support the guys. Give Bryce Young, give him some confidence. Hopefully, give him, you can't just be there for the good times. It's easy for me to say I don't go to games. They only play here once a year in Atlanta, and it's too expensive if I don't get free tickets. And now I work Sundays, so there's that. Yeah, Panthers going to win that one. Moving on to the next game, finally. How about Jets going down to Miami? Both Jersey teams getting wins last week. Both Jersey quarterbacks, NFL Offensive Player of the Weeks for their respective conferences. Almost said Tommy DeVito with the Giants. And, of course, Zach Wilson finally looking good with the Jets. And I hate to say this is a must-win game for either team, but it kind of feels like it's a must-win game for both teams. The Jets at 5-8. Feels like they really need this win to stay alive in the playoff hunt. You got all those 7-6 teams ahead of them. Like, they're going to need to win some games on the way out, maybe all of them. And, if they're eliminated from playoff contention, there goes the possibility of Aaron Rodgers playing this season. Because he's not coming back if they don't have a playoff opportunity. He's downplaying the potential for him returning Christmas Eve, but still could happen. But they got to win this game, it feels like that, for that to happen. The Dolphins, of course, blowing it. Looking like they had the game won against the Titans, but then Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins, Derrick Henry working some magic. They got the win there. But I think the Dolphins are going to bounce back in this one, get win number 10 in front of the home crowd. A lot of that could depend on the health of Tyreek Hill, of course. I thought they could find a way to win at least this game without him. But if they want to have a chance at, winning the championship this year, they need Tyreek Hill to be back to full health. Speaking of full health, C.J. Stroud for the Texans got knocked out of that game. The loss to the Jets last week with a concussion. Looking unlikely for this week. Still was in protocol a couple days ago. And that can be tough to get out of there in just 1 week, especially if you're dealing with a rookie quarterback. The future of your team, an incredible season he has had. You don't want to risk the season and, more importantly, his career just to rush him back, even though they're right in the heat of that playoff race. One of those 6, 7, and 6 teams. The Titans, though, after the win last week, they're not wanting to go away. They, at 5 and 8, they're on the outside looking in, but there's still time. They can string off some wins. Some other teams get some losses. They could do it. And I believe, especially considering C.J. Stroud unlikely to play, because Davis Mills is expected to get the start if he's out. I think the Titans, they keep it going. They keep the winning going, trying to stay alive in the AFC South. The Texans they need a win too. But I think the Titans get this one without CJ, especially if CJ Stroud's not playing. If CJ Stroud plays, I think the Texans maybe get a win, but I think that's unlikely. So Tennessee with the W at home. And, of course, the allergies are kicking in. My nose is running like crazy, so I'm going to try to push through this last little bit. The Buccaneers going to Green Bay to take on the Packers. The Battle of the Bays. It's going to be Jordan Love getting the win here to get his Green Bay team back to 500. Try to catch up with the Lions. I don't think it'll happen because the Lions are going to win this week. But I'm going to pick against the NFC South, y'all. And another NFC South team, I think Tommy DeVito going to go down to New Orleans, and they're going to beat Derek Carr and the Saints. So that's right, the Panthers going to be the only NFC South team with a victory this week. It's going to be a 3-way tie, still at first place, but it's going to be 6 and 8 to 6 and 7. Justin Fields, 2 straight wins. Not great playoff chances. They're behind even the Packers. I think a lot of this, though, is playing to show, hey, we got those 2 top picks, but you don't need to use one of those on a quarterback because I'm here. Y'all already got me developed. And I think Justin Fields is going to keep that campaign going. Joe Flacco not going to be able to get back-to-back wins for the Browns, even though it's at home. Justin Fields is going to come through, find a way. Maybe Dante Foreman gets a touchdown too. In that crowded Bears backfield. Chiefs going up to New England. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick. Chiefs coming off 2 straight losses. Some would say controversial calls. Maybe not. I think the Chiefs get this win, though. They're not going to lose 3 in a row right now. This Patriots team is not very good. Only 3 wins for Bill Belichick in what a lot of people are saying is his final season with the New England Patriots. He is a possibility. I've seen mentioned for the Panthers. But the way his teams look this year, I don't really necessarily like that. I mean, maybe he can do more, but I don't think that's what we need for Bryce Young. Stuff like he did not bring in Bill O'Brien, who worked pretty well with Bryce Young in college, but his offense was terrible. Terrible with New England, man. They've been not good whatsoever. Other than beating, of course, the Steelers last week. But they're not going to beat 2 teams like that in a row. Chiefs going to find a way to get win number 9 finally. And the 49ers, 5 wins in a row after losing those 3 in a row there. And they're going to keep the winning ways going. It's Arizona, division rival. I think Kyler Murray and company are going to put up a fight. Not going to be easy, but I think when it comes down to it, 49ers, when they've won a lot of games in a row. I think it's 20. When you have Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey all healthy, this team's tough to stop offensively. Especially Kyle Shanahan just seems to be an offensive mastermind calling these plays. Then on defense, you got Chase Young and Nick Bosa. This team is dangerous, y'all. And 49ers, as of now, they're my pick to win the fucking Super Bowl. So I think they get the win here, keep it going. Commanders traveling to L.A., try to play a little bit of spoiler. The Rams coming off an overtime loss. Punt returned for a touchdown that the Ravens put on them. And, man, I really want to pick Washington in this game. I do. But it's in L.A. Matthew Stafford has been cooking. He came back from that injury. I think they win, get themselves back to 500. Sorry, Dylan. Cowboys going to Buffalo. Bills really need to win, man. They got a big one last week. Just Josh Allen getting the big win over the Chiefs. And, the Cowboys look pretty damn good. Shutting down A.J. Brown. Taking care of business with the Eagles. Establishing themselves as the second best team in the NFC. Tied record-wise with the 49ers. Potentially setting up what could be a fun NFC championship game. But the Bills are not so fast. They're one of those 6 teams I mentioned before, tied at 7-6 in the AFC. And with tiebreakers, they're not near the top of the tie heap. So they need to win. Maybe they need to win out. They need to win at least 3 of the last 4 games, including finishing the season in Miami. But I believe in these Bills. I believe in Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. I believe they're going to find a way in this one, to find a way to get the win. Joe Brady, former Panthers offensive coordinator, calling plays now for the Bills. You got Sean McDermott, former Panthers defensive coordinator, as the head coach. And he's made some questionable decisions here and there. Not always the best game management guy, but I think they'll find a way. They got the Bills Mafia in attendance. Buffalo Bills getting the win, y'all. And Sunday Night Football, Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson coming off the big overtime win. OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., looking like Odell Beckham Jr. of old lately, coming into form, especially with Mark Andrews out. You got guys stepping up in his place. And this should be interesting, It looked like Trevor Lawrence, a lot of people were surprised he played last week. Obviously, he was not at 100%, throwing 3 interceptions. And the question is, it'll be a little longer this time because that was from a Monday to Sunday, so there was only 6 days in between as opposed to a full week. So you got a full week here. Is he able to get healthy? Because it feels like you need him to be healthy. If the Jaguars want to have a chance in this game, they need a game. They need a good game from Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne Jr. They need both those guys to step up. And if Trevor Lawrence isn't healthy, which it's hard for me to see him, getting healthy that quick, I probably should have said out last week. I think the Ravens are going to win this game. Lamar Jackson, had all these questions a few weeks ago. He was should they really pay him that money? He's like, watch me. Trying to, as of now, it would look like 49ers and Ravens. But a lot of things can change in the next month. To see what happens with that. But I do believe the Ravens get the win in this scenario. The Eagles coming off that loss against the Cowboys, going to Seattle. Seattle, of course, 4-game losing streak. Eagles have lost 2 in a row. And Seattle, man, it's crazy to think. San Francisco on a 5-game winning streak. Seattle on a 4-game winning streak. So 4 games ago, when the San Francisco one had just started, when the Seattle did start, the other way, it was San Francisco was 6-3, and Seattle was 6-3. 4 weeks ago, 4 games ago, whatever. And then since that, San Francisco has continued their winning streak, building up to 5. Seattle has lost 4 in a row, including last week to the aforementioned 49ers. And I think this it's tough one to go because they got the 12th man. You would think Seattle's not going to lose another game. They are 4-2 at home, but Philadelphia is 5-2 on the road. So they only have one more loss on the road than they do at home. I think the Eagles are going to bounce back. I think this Eagles team, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, is less likely to lose 3 in a row than the Seahawks are likely to lose 5 in a row. It just seems like a more likely outcome. But, let's see. Stay tuned. See what happens. Like I said, I'm still going to keep believing in my Panthers, even though I have no real reason to at this point. But, hey, it's the Falcons. And I'm going to get off of here because my nose is running, and it's annoying the hell out of me, y'all. So, hope y'all have a great day. Check in tomorrow. Hawks are in action tonight. First of 2 games this week, tonight and then Friday, up north of the border in Toronto. Show Drake what we're working with. Let's get the win, Trey. I think the Hawks can win at least one of these. It'd be really nice to see them, get a little winning streak going. I complained about them being too close to 500, and now they're 4 games below. So hopefully get back to 500 like the year-old Drew song says. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Hopefully my nose will stop running so I can actually do a full episode tomorrow. But hey, peace out. Hope you all have a great day. Babbling Brooks signing the F off. Peace out.